hope everyone who's watching BNP TV today is doing amazingly well. And this is your standpoint once again. I'm so delighted to have my guests. And as always, I start by ladies. I have a lady in the room whose name is Elsa, but she can maybe tell us more about herself and also greet you guys.
Hello everyone, my name is Elsa Dikumana and I am currently a university student over here at Olivier University.
Well, we are happy to have you again here. And I'm also with another guest. His nickname is Obama. Edward. He can also maybe tell you more about himself and so greet you guys.
Hello everyone. I'm so thrilled, of course, to be here again. This is my maybe fourth time I'm here, and I would like also to say thanks for this occasion of this kind of motion that we're going to have later, where of course we'll be giving some different types of arguments. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here in the studio again. And before I go straight to the topic, let me tell you that the richest country in the world is Luxembourg, with wealth that is approximately more than $150,000 per capita. Whereas we know that the richest person in the world is in the US, Elon Musk, as everyone can know. For those who follow the information, of course, but I doubt people speak English cannot ignore this information. And we know that our country is the poorest in the world, unfortunately. I don't know why I'm even laughing, but in Kirundi we say, we just laugh when there is something bad. I don't know where this came from, but we know that also that DRC has the 5th position of the poorest country in the world, whereas there is this Indian family with Roji Group, which has this wealth that goes over $8 million, which means like there are some individuals that are making money in some economies that are not really that much strong if we try to compare. So today's topic is national economy versus individual economy. So I will start by asking my guest here. I hope you know that you always start with the lady, and she also tell us maybe what's her stand. Do you go for national economy or do you go for individual economy?
I go for individual because I believe that yes, countries can be rich. However, it all comes down to how the individual manages to manage their own personal finance, because money is everywhere and it starts before it arrives in the government banks, the state banks, the many other cooperatives. It was at first in our pockets. So if we are going to look for a better future, it all starts with us.
Well, Obama, also, what's your choice there between national economy and individual economy? What do you think?
Thank you for that question. I take national economy, and the national economy that is actually all about the nation's financial resources and the financial also management. The way, of course, people, the government has to, of course, have some different types of observation through that kind of management of the economy of the country in order to enhance the level of, well-being of the whole nation. Yeah. Thank you.
We know that, as she was saying, like it starts from, individuals and people contributing to the economy to get bigger. But you also know that the nations have to do something for the individuals to, to be well and to be able to contribute as much as they can. But I want to know, like, how can you really make this, economy great when you're also not really well equipped to make it grow as you wish?
Well, it all comes down to one thing, that difficulties are often, well, there's a saying that says that setbacks are setups. And basically, even though we're looking at our current situation, we're saying there's no foreseeable way that one day our currency will be strong, that one day what I'm paying my taxes for will eventually come back to me in better services. You all have to eventually step back and think that this is just the beginning. The beginning is not always good. And the setback that is the current situation we're in, where infrastructure is not that good, public services are not that good, you have to take a step back and you have to look at what you can control, which is your own habits, your own spendings and savings. So it all comes down to the individual before we all look at the community. And with that being said, spending money responsibly and knowing where to put money, how to spend it, how to save it, how to make more, how money eventually should be flowing in your life, that is really, really important in seeing the first step in a better financial situation for the individual, but also a national economy.
She was trying to explain very well how, it all starts by the individual themselves, but we know that the country is lacking, a lot of things. We know sometimes we find those countries without infrastructure, without, good services like social securities, all of those stuff that are not really well set. So how can they be able to support people's initiatives and be able to make the economy grow bigger?
Yeah, so I think that, firstly, the population, the whole population, leads somewhere. And they follow what leaders do. And what leaders do is to, of course, create job opportunities where, of course, some different people can have some jobs. And they start, of course, living a paycheck system. That's where, of course, one part of maybe place where they get the income from. And when they are working, when the government is putting in place some kind of job opportunities, and where people, of course, start work, people will actually start living under national economics condition, because they are working there. Whatever they do is designed by the government, which is, of course, the reason why government is there as like a head of everything. That when, of course, there can be sometimes in some African countries where you can find, instead of working, on behalf of the population, they work on behalf of, leaders themselves. There are, some African countries that do so. But what I support is that when the government or the nation is just on the side of this kind of macroeconomic figure, trying, of course, to manage everything inside, the whole population can actually live the life that they expect always to live. Otherwise, population can never live without the government.
Well, thank you for your reply, and I hope Elsa, she was able also to catch what you were saying. We could hear that the government is the one to design everything. It's one that is there to provide guarantees, or like to make sure the population is able to promote what they are doing, and they be able also to make the economy grow stronger. So do you think people can still make it? As you say, you use the saying,
a setback is a setup. Yeah.
So do you think that's really still relevant?
Yes, I think it is, because we have to remember, in fact, that systems by design might work, but when put into practice, they might fail. And that might be due to numerous circumstances, some that are well outside of the individual's control. It could be market fluctuations from abroad. It could be lack of infrastructure. Again, it could be, it could be numerous other reasons why the system by design should be working, but why is it not working? Because it's by design supposed to work, but once you put it into the actual experiment, there are numerous things that can happen to it, and that should not be the sole reason we fold our arms and say we're doomed, we're cooked, we are not even going to make it past our own country. Because we have to remember that the system, even though right now it is not working at its full potential, is still working. Even though public services are not the best, they are still available. That does not mean that we should just leave them in the corner and not use them. We should put up a little bit more tolerance, because it is nonetheless very irritable that we're in this situation right now. But giving up is not an option for the individual who wishes to see wealth in their life, because wealth is not easy. It never was. Even if we're in this country, even if we're in another country, it does not matter if there are Americans who are poor and they're in a rich country. I'm sure in Luxembourg there's a poor man, and it all comes down to, once again, the individual. Because if we rely on what the government does and we cross our arms, we become victims. And we do not become victims, we make ourselves victims. Even though we have arms, we have legs, we have a head,
Right.
we have union, and the government should still be doing its role in providing the nation the services it's quite literally being, paying them for with the taxes. That does not mean that the nation should rely on government services. That by itself, I'm pretty sure, is the main reason we lack in a strong economies. Because when the government falls, we fall with it. That should not be the case. It should be a secondary aid to us, but they should follow the steps that we're leading them with, So with that being said, if a person just sits down and blames the circumstances around them, they were probably not made for the job. They were probably not made to be the individual who is rich. And so if they blame that infrastructure so-and-so does not work, that's part of the challenge that we're facing right now, which is to build a strong economy. A strong economy was a bad economy. It was a country with very poor infrastructure. It was a country with hardly any good services to provide, but it's the individual that withstood that, and not only that, did not tolerate it. He sought to change it. But he did not seek to change it through becoming the president. There's a lot of people who say, if I was president, there's things you can do, you don't have to be president. The president is not the only one in power. If you leave him to be the only one in power, the only one who can make change, we're gonna be here for a long time, because he's running the country like he's the only person in the country. It should not be the case. The government surely is here as aid to us, but a person who does not help themselves is very, very, very hard to help. So that's when, yes, macroeconomically speaking, Burundi is a very, very vulnerable country. Our currency is surely very, very, very unvaluable, but that is because Burundians are making it unvaluable. If services, if products emerged and we imposed ourselves in the country, in the economy, whether it be regional economy or global economy or continental economy, it's not the government who does that, it's us. We build the businesses, we build the products, we sell them abroad. That's how you make it that the currency that a product is being sold in becomes stronger. And with that, the currency also takes a toll. It starts also holding more value alongside its other colleagues. And with that being said, it all starts with the building block. It's a huge brick wall, but the brick wall is strong because the brick is tough. Yes, so.
Well, you were too much convincing now, and I don't know how, my brother Obama is going to get out of this trap. Like she was saying, what is actually, true. Like we should not be victims of, what is being designed by the governments. That we are there to even get the aid from the government as secondary. And we add on what she was saying, like problems are there, and it's from there that we can also build, we can, you know, create solutions, innovate, and also be able to come up with too much, you know, wealth in the country. So do you think the country will make it without, you know, without individuals who are really well educated, who are able to come up with new innovative ideas, new solutions? We'll be able to even export, we'll be able to make our currency more valuable. As she was saying, we are the ones to make it unvaluable. So don't you think individuals, you know, can do better than what the nation can do?
So thank you so much. Firstly, you know, those are kind of, you know, magnificent ideas, but I think that just living in a country where, of course, the system is particularly in just, you know, helping people to move forward, and you know that the country must have the system where, of course, everything turns around. Just going on the side of the ordinary people, trying, of course, to some of them saving, investing, and so on and so forth, doing a lot, so of course the country can move forward. I think that it's not bad. But remember that sometimes the system, you don't go against the system. And you know that ordinary people, most of them, educated people and uneducated people, in many ways, when they go further and further, they feel like they're, you know, they have everything. Then they actually start creating some kind of behavior, you know, over the system that, of course, they live in, which come to create a kind of scandal in a country. So, like in Burundi, even it's true in Burundi, it's true even in other places. Where there is a government, where there is a ruling system, is where this ruling system become like a teacher to teach the whole population how they have to behave, how they have to understand some kind of regulations, restrictions, of course, put in place by the government. So where always come as a problem is when those people, of course, go on the other side. Then they say, of course, we are improving a lot economically. Then we have to do this and that. Yet there is a government, which is, of course, the government always never accept it. They need to put there some restrictions that restrict those people from going far, but rather, you know, comply with what is there. Some kind, you know, the laws that the government or the nation has put in place to be followed. So, you know, of course, you know, you can actually be millionaire, you can be billionaire, but remember, those people are under system of the government. And the other people whom we did not say, of course, those people can be taken as some exceptional. Not all of those people actually can be better than even the government, because government is composed of so many people trying, of course, to do something for well-being of the population. When they are together, they implement something. They design, then they put into actions what they design, which, of course, the whole population actually follow. And you will see even some people in different places saying, our government is cool, is good, just because government designed a kind of a long-run vision where, of course, they would be after some years, 5 years, even 10 years to come. Population follows the government system because the government is the head. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. You know, here Boma is saying, you know, it's the government implementing the rules. You know, then those rules might even become, you know, restrictions to the population to be able to make it. And sometimes, you know, there are even those who can make it, you know, what he called exceptions. So meaning they are under the wings of the government. They are there, but they are like having people are just, you know, pushing them. You know, they're having people are really, you know, having their back. So do you think that's true, or you think everyone can really make it? Like even talking about this, you know, the ordinary person there, the rural places in the country can be able to bring something to the table?
Yes, I believe it's possible. I believe anybody who puts their mind to it can achieve it. Anybody who says, this is it, I'm not going back, I'm going forward, can make it. They will arrive to their final destination. What I want to rather highlight here is that many of the government initiatives are being ignored. There is recently a bunch of news of this is how we want Burundi to look like in 2060. This is how we want Burundi to look like in 20, 30 years. Why is it that we scoff, that we laugh? We say, that's not gonna happen. They just took a picture of Dubai and they just said those stupid words over there. What's that? That already shows you that we're kind of handicapped. It shows you again that if we don't want to move, they're not going to take us anywhere, Because sure, there are bad apples in the government. They are people who are only there for their own interests, who are only there for the paycheck. But they're nonetheless very, very country-loving, patriotic beings in the government nonetheless. So if you generalize, you say they're all working against us. They don't want us to be rich. You're creating a problem that does not exist because, again, the system by design is there. We're not using it. We're not using it. They're telling us to build businesses. They're telling us to pay our taxes. They're telling us to stick around. But the moment we get to run away, why is it that we do? Because we are seeking for instant results. But that is not going to get you anywhere. Nowhere. If you are always seeking for the best results here, the best results there, that is never what the exceptions saw. The exceptions said in 10 years, this has to happen. Can you wait 10 years? Can you wait 10 years, be like, I'm going to build a business, it's going to solve this problem that we are facing, right? And that business, as it grows and grows and grows, as it solves more problems in the country I built it in, the quality of life can actually improve, We're over here, we're talking about the franc, it means nothing. What are we bringing on the table? On the global table, what are we bringing? Nothing. We're asking, we're buying. You're wondering why we have to always go around in dollars. If we have like 10 francs, like 10,000 francs, over here we treat it like it's just 2K, like it's nothing. It's because it all comes down to the people who are, may I say, running the economy. We're running the economy, and we're doing it very badly. We are not thinking of a future. We're thinking of tomorrow. Tomorrow is not the future. Today was yesterday's tomorrow. If you're only thinking about tomorrow, are you thinking about the future? No. Investment takes time. It takes time. If we try to rush things, we're getting nowhere. We're going nowhere. And the results, even if we get them, they're fake. They're not true results. They are not even going to help us in the long run. So surely the government, leads us in development. It is designed to lead us into development, to not leave us being an irrelevant country in some continent. But if us, the people who should be pushing it, by the way, they're pointing us the direction, we're not pushing. We're not pushing, we're giving up. We're saying no. As soon as I get that visa to Canada, I'm gone. Will you be rich in Canada? No. You will be more miserable. Rather than you staying in the country and taking initiative. Truly, there are people who want to be baby-fed, who want the prosperity to be fed to them on a silver spoon. No, we are the ones who should be looking for the food, who should be hunting down for prosperity, who, may I say, should be planting trees for the future generation to find shade in. That's basically what happened. America was not always strong. China was not always strong. What happened? Did they run away to the strongest country nearby? Did it last? No. They stayed. They said, I'm going to make a change. I'm not going to move. I run things here. What my business has something to do with the country I'm in right now. Basically what I'm saying is that if we all don't take a step back, okay, if we don't step back a little bit and we don't try to run to the safest, richest country there is, And we realize that this chaos, this disorder, is showing us what we should work on, is showing us what we need, showing us what we don't need. That's a setup. If you step back and you see what the problem is, businesses solve problems. They're asking us to build businesses, and there's problems everywhere, but we're not building them. Why? We can help ourselves. The government should not be our savior. It should not be our savior. We should not be dependent on it. That goes completely against prosperity. That goes completely against a strong economy. If the US government right now, as it is going right now, does the country become poor? Yes, it has severe losses, but is it poor now? No, because people are still there, right? Sure, many ran away, but many are still there, and they know it will not last. They know that 4 years from now, we will not be in the same situation. And 4 years, I can wait 4 years. I can build the business for 4 years. I can wait. You don't even realize time is going. If truly a businessman is busy, I'm sure that if they were just a little bit patient, that they would not even realize that 2040 is tomorrow. We're thinking about tomorrow, we're thinking about the next day, we're thinking about, we're Wednesday, right? We're thinking about Thursday. No, you should be thinking about next year, the year after, 5 years, 10 years. Because truly being foresighted, being not capable of seeing the long distance, it's the real handicap. It's the real reason the economy is not at all where it should be.
Well, I bounce on your last statement saying that being foresighted, that's the first handicap. Also, try to come back to one of her expression that really touched me. She was saying that we are like we like to be baby fed. Like we don't want us to maybe to be able to to avoid this childhood mindset. And I just want to ask you, Obama, do you think the government is capable of, like pulling everyone to the road of, a strong economy in every country?
Yeah, absolutely yes. So let me try to explain this in this way. I think I'm not just going on the side of being breastfed, but I'm on the side of, getting people engaged into community development. And when they actually start getting engaged into that, at that time also there are some other people who are being hired, so of course they can keep on living. Yet also there are some other people who are being engaged, who are being encouraged to work in order to attach themselves with a vision designed by the team in the government. I mean, there are some kind of national government, or I can say government operatives or political operatives are there to design how actually the country will look like after some years, which is of course a good thing, because it's a good philosophy that when people have like kind of image of where they're going to, it is easy to just engage people who don't see that to help, which is of course the reason why government is, takes a big role in leading this. And of course she's given a good example of America. I think those people, businessmen, they did not work by themselves. They were they were engaged by the system of the US. I mean, the administration, to start working, to start being innovative, so that of course the US can be different. Which means wherever you would go, unless the government is weak, and only that, you will find that those people try to work night and night, trying of course to get people into the birth of development. And by just doing that, it is simply even what you can start seeing around in our region countries, East African countries. There are some countries that, if you try to see, they are trying all they can to, of course, move forward, to help, of course, people who are vulnerable, and get different people into this kind of life they expected or they wish to live in. So where I think I can see maybe rise another kind of idea is when you let people, and you are the government, you let people do whatever they think, there can be some big problem in the country. Which is the reason why there must be a certain leader front, showing the whole population. There even the people, let me show the example of a certain country. Supposing that we live in a country where there is no leader, but there are businessmen, billionaires, and so on. Vulnerable people can never be remembered. Those people who don't have the power to work. There are some people there, which is the reason why government is there to even moderate, to help everyone, to put there this kind of concept. They say we are equal under laws. Everyone is equal. By the way, you are not equal to a president. You know that. That's actually something that we have to understand by just going deeper, critically. Which is the reason why government, on my side, play a big role to get its people forward.
Well, I wish we could go further with this topic, but I see, time is up. And I just have to tell you guys that, both of my guests were, speaking the same language in different ways, by the way. You're saying that the government designing the system, that the government has already designed the systems, that it's up to us also to grab those opportunities and also to make, what is, bad today to make it good tomorrow. Right. Then we are the ones, responsible at the end of the day, but also we know that there are those who are in charge of, organizing stuff. So guys, I hope you learned something from this show. I'll have to thank my guests here. They were so brilliant. That's how they are always. And I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so thank you, Brother Edward. For
Thank you so much for having me too.
All right. Also have to thank our viewers. Stay connected with us. This is your TV, BNP. Bye. Ciao.